NFL fans, welcome back to another episode of the JL Day Show. The Combine is in the books, guys. Free agency's coming up in less than 2 weeks, so we have a lot of exciting things to talk about today. But what I want to do for you is give you a full first-round mock draft after the Combine. Some guys like Matthew Golden, he ran a 4.29 40, the wide receiver from Texas, really boosted his draft stock and could be in the top 15. Some other guys are going to see their stock move up as well. Let's see how this first round mock draft for the NFL Draft 2025 plays out. Let's get into it. All right, NFL fans, before we get into this mock draft, if you could do me a huge favor, hit that like button. It really does help this video get into the algorithm. And if you like my content, consider subscribing to the channel. Titans on the board at number 1. I've been going back and forth on this all week. Not much has changed since the Combine, but I think the Titans don't want to pass on a generational talent. And that's Travis Hunter, man. He's an excellent route runner on the offensive side and probably a top 10 cornerback the day he gets drafted in the NFL. I love Travis Hunter. The Titans could use some cornerback help. They could use some help on offense as well if you scheme up 15 to 25 plays for Travis Hunter on offense. He goes to the Titans for me at number 1. This leaves a huge question for the Browns. Do they trade Myles Garrett? He's not traded yet. So, Garrett doesn't want to play. They get into a situation where he might hold out. Let's draft Myles Garrett's replacement. Abdul Carter goes number 2 to the Browns. Now, the Giants have their pick of the litter at the quarterback position without having to move up. Is it Cam Ward? Is it Shedeur Sanders? For me, Cam Ward didn't work out at the Combine, but he was throwing with some of his teammates on the sideline. I like the way he throws the football in those just little tiny clips that we saw. And you saw what he did at Miami this year. And he's dealt with a ton of different obstacles through his playing career. I like guys with perseverance, like a Jaden Daniels, who went through a bunch of different programs, came out and balled out as his college career progressed. That's Cam Ward to a T. The Giants are taking Cam Ward with the number 3 pick overall. He's a very impressive guy. Just look at the growth. I love the growth story. I love the story. I think he's a good kid. Cam Ward goes to the Giants at number 3. Now, the Patriots are on the board, man. This is where things start to get interesting. Do we go Tet McMillan? It's between him and Will Campbell. Luther Burden looked great at the Combine. He's definitely going to be in play early in this draft. So is a guy like Matthew Golden. He looked really good as well. But for me, they need to protect Drake May. Their offensive line is an absolute dumpster fire. Will Campbell goes to the Patriots at number 4. Now, the Jaguars are up at pick 5 overall. This just makes too much sense to me. Mason Graham is an excellent run defender, solid pass defender as well. 5 sacks, 9 hits, 20 hurries. He's just an excellent player. Run stop rate over 10%. He's a monster. And he hit a bad game 1, but after that, he was just a stud for the entire college season. Mason Graham goes to the Jaguars at 5. Now, the Raiders are on the board. They could go Ashton Genty in this spot. They could go Tet McMillan, but they really need a freaking quarterback, right? And Shedeur Sanders just makes way too much sense. I'm excited, man. Shedeur Sanders, he was just excited to be at the Combine, even though he didn't work out. He was juicing it up, talking with people, hanging out. He was full of smiles. I just like his moxie, man. And with Tom Brady being there to kind of oversee this journey, I think Shedeur Sanders has, between his dad and Tom Brady, everything he needs to succeed. Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers, probably another wide receiver in round 2. Shedeur Sanders goes to the Raiders at pick 6. Now, the Jets up on the board at number 7. None of the quarterbacks did good enough to make them first-round picks. I don't see any other quarterbacks going. They need D-line help. They need D-back help. They need to help a lot of freaking places, the Jets do, man. For me, the Jets could go a lot of different places here, man. They really could. I think a guy like Will Johnson is absolutely in play here. But for me, so is Kenny Grant, man. Kenny Grant could definitely be that guy. But I'm going to throw a little wrench into this draft early, right? I think I'm going to go Jody Barron to the Jets at pick 7. Aaron Glenn is a defensive-minded guy. I think they go defense early here in the draft. Jody Barron is in PFF's top 10. He had an incredible year at Texas. Just 5 picks. 34 passer rating against is unreal, guys. Super unbelievable. I love this fit for the Jets. Now, the Panthers are on the board. They could go a ton of different places. Ted McMillan, Luther Burden, Matthew Golden, they all make sense. They make a lot of sense. But Matthew Golden, he was unbelievable in this draft class at the Combine. He was so unbelievably impressive. 4.29. 4.29, Matthew Golden? Come on. Almost 1,000 yards, 9 tutties. He's in play. But for me, the Panthers need another offensive weapon desperately. Ted McMillan is that guy. He goes to the Panthers at number 8. Now, New Orleans Saints are on the board. Luther Burden is really in play here. So is Tyler Warren, the tight end. Luther Burden ran great at the Combine. Strong hands. But the down year in production is a little hairy, right? So Tyler Warren goes to the Saints at number 9. Dude, Tyler Warren, guys, is an absolute gangster. 1,200 yards, 8 tutties. Receiving grade of 93.4. Come on. Not a great run blocker, but a lot of these guys coming out of college aren't excellent run blockers. I'm okay with that. Now, the Chicago Bears are on the board. They need offensive line help so freaking bad. Caleb Williams got sacked 68 freaking times, guys. 68 freaking times. Are you kidding me? I want to bring in what I think was the most dominant force on the offensive line this year. He did get hurt, right? So Bears fans are probably going to be like, why are you picking somebody that's hurt? Because Josh Simmons is a dog. Turn on the tape, and he just beats the shit out of people for 60 minutes every game. It's unbelievable. He can play left tackle. He can play right tackle. And if you want him to play guard for a little while, he probably can. He's got the size, 6'5", 310. Josh Simmons goes to the Bears at number 10. Now, number 11, the 49ers. Another team that is absolutely desperate for offensive line help, in my opinion. They could use some help on the D-line as well. A guy like Kenny Grant makes a lot of sense. Mike Green makes a lot of sense. Offensive line help makes a lot of sense for the 49ers. Walter Nolan makes a ton of sense for them. I love this pick. Walter Nolan, 6'3", 305. He's only 21. And you're looking at who's left on the board here that's worthy of this pick at number 11. Walter Nolan is the best interior defensive lineman probably left. Him and Kenny Grant, man, they're both excellent players, man. Kenny Grant, he's just a big boy, man. Almost 340 pounds. Yeah, I'm going with Kenny Grant instead. Kenny Grant goes to the 49ers at 11. Now, Cowboys fans, do you go Ashton Genty? Do you go Luther Burden? Jahad Campbell is on the board. He looked great at the Combine as well. James Pierce Jr., another guy he was an absolute freak. I know the chalk is to go Ashton Genty, but I don't think they do it. Cowboys fans, it's between Luther Burden and you know what? I'm going James Pierce Jr. Going to the Cowboys at number 12. Now, your Dolphins up. They need offensive line help desperately. They have to protect Tua. He's one bad hit away from not playing football anymore. Straight up. Kelvin Banks is the best offensive lineman left on the board. They just can't go another year with this mediocre offensive line. Kelvin Banks can play all over the offensive line. He's got quick feet. He's strong. I like this pick. Banks goes to the Dolphins at 13. Now, the Colts are on the board. I think a guy like Malachi Starks is definitely in play here. Jahad Campbell is interesting as well. You know, doesn't really play on the D-line that much. He does a little bit. But, man, Jahad Campbell is an absolute freaking savage, man. Savage, savage, savage. But you know what? I think the Colts need a general on this defense in the secondary. Malachi Starks, baller. Just straight baller. Come up, can stop the run. He can play in the slot. He could play safety. Just look what Cooper DeJean did with the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he could be a similar type of player. Malachi Starks goes to the Colts at 14. Now, Falcons fans, you're on the board here at 15. Ashton Genty's slide continues. That slide continues. Because the Falcons aren't picking Ashton Genty. They need an edge defender desperately. Mike Green goes to the Falcons at 15. Now, Cardinals fans, you're on the board. Man, they need offensive line help. They need defensive line help. There's a myriad of places you could go for the Cardinals. For me, it's Walter Nolan. Beef up that D-line. Now, Bengals fans, you're on the board now. T. Higgins, I don't know if they're going to bring him back or not. It's a lot of money. Can they play Trey Hendrickson, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins? I doubt it. That's why I'm rolling the dice on this one, man. I don't think T. Higgins is going to come back. We'll see. If he comes back, we'll switch up this pick. But Luther Burden, with that excellent combine, goes to the Bengals. Pair him up with Jamar Chase. OMG. All right, guys. Seahawks fans. Mike McDonald, I think he's a defensive-minded guy, right? We need offensive line help for sure. But I think all the guys right now are a reach. So you know what? They need linebacker help. They need edge help. Jahad Campbell goes to the Seahawks at number 18. Now, Buccaneers fans, you're on the board now. They need D-back help, linebacker help, edge help. There's a lot of great edge guys left on the board here. Mykel Williams makes a shit ton of sense for me. Makes a ton of sense. Will Johnson, the cornerback, makes a ton of sense for me. I really, really like adding to this secondary, man. Will Johnson, the cornerback, goes to the Buccaneers at number 19. Denver Broncos fans, you're on the board now. Sean Payton, what he can do with a guy like Ashton Genty could be incredible. I love Ashton Genty. I think he is an unbelievable fit here for the Denver Broncos at number 20. I'm doing it. I'm doing it, guys. Genty goes to the Broncos. Watch out, Chiefs fans. The Broncos are coming. Steelers fans, you're on the board now. Pick 21 overall. They need another wide receiver. That wide receiver room's pretty thin, in my opinion. Pickens, is he going to be back? Is he not going to be back? What the hell are they going to do? They could go corner here, but all the corners I love are gone. And Mika Egbuka goes to the Steelers at 21. Now, Chargers fans, you're on the board here at 22. And I'm reuniting head coach and a premium tight end prospect, Colston Loveland, goes to the Chargers at 22 overall. Now, Packers fans, you're on the board. Is Jair Alexander going to get traded? They probably could use a number one wide receiver. And guess what, guys? They're going to get that number one wide receiver right now. Matthew Golden, 6 foot, 200 pounds. The dude is a monster. The dude is an absolute monster. What a combine, 4.29. Packers need a number one. They get a number one in Matthew Golden. All right. Vikings fans, you're on the board. They need some serious corner help. They could go interior defensive line as well. Derek Harmon's on the board. Running back is on the board. That's an option. You know what? Omarion Hampton was so impressive at the combine. I love him. The Vikings get Omarion Hampton at 24. A little bit of a shocker pick, but I like it. I like it! All right, Texans fans, you're up at 25. I would love Ibuka to reunite with C.J. Stroud, but that's not going to be the case here, guys. We need interior defensive line help. They need offensive line help, too. Membu is definitely in play. Derek Harmon. They need D-line help. Texans grab him. All right, Rams fans. Matt Stafford is back. Cooper Kupp hasn't been traded yet, but he most likely will get traded. They need linebacker help. Can you imagine Jared Verse and Jalen Walker on the same team? They re-signed Alaric Jackson, the offensive lineman, so I don't think they go offensive line here. I'm taking a freak. Jared Verse, Jalen Walker can play off ball or on the edge. He can play all over. He can play anywhere on this defense. You bring in superstars. The Rams get Jalen Walker at 26. All right. This pick makes perfect sense to me. Georgia players have had great careers in the NFL. Jalen Carter. There's a myriad of other ones. Jordan Davis for the Eagles. Nolan Smith for the Eagles. Georgia North. The Ravens get Mykel Williams, the edge defender. Played through some injuries this year, guys. Don't look at these numbers. Look at the tape. He played through injuries. He's going to be a great fit for the Ravens. All right. Pick 28 overall. Here we go, guys. Detroit Lions. Membu's in play. Ezeraku's in play. Scourton's in play. Shamar Stewart. He's got all the tools in the world to be a dominant force. Not super productive in college, but man, if he can learn from Aiden Hutchinson, pair him up on the edge with Aiden Hutchinson, woo, baby. I love that pick. Shamar Stewart goes to the Lions at 28. Commanders fans are up at 29. Big trade. Deebo Samuel goes over from San Francisco to the Commanders. Very, very impressive. They need a cornerback so bad. This defense sucks. But edge defender makes a lot of sense as well. Cornerbacks are dropping down the board. I don't know if they want to reach. They're going to take a pass rusher. Donovan Ezeraku. Perfect pick. All right. Bills fans, you're on the board. They need a wide receiver, man. They need interior defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. A lot of people in play for the Buffalo Bills here at pick 30. Demetrius Knight from South Carolina. He's on the board. Nick Scourton, he's on the board as well. For me, I'm taking a look at who's left on the board. Landon Jackson had an impressive, super impressive combine. He looked great. Not a ton of wide receivers I'm clamoring to draft right now. The Bills are in a precarious spot. They could potentially trade this pick. But they need defensive line help, and Darius Alexander from Toledo is a monster. Quinyon Mitchell from the Birds came from Toledo. They're pumping out pro-ready defensive players. Darius Alexander goes to the Bills at 30. Now, 31. If the board plays out like this, the Chiefs are going to be happy. They need tackle help. Armand Membu, 6'3", 314. He can play guard. He can play tackle. He's a great offensive lineman. Gray Sable's on the board too. Guard/center. He had a great combine showing as well. Josh Connerly Jr. I really like too. He's got 6'4", 315. 6'3", about the same size. But Armand Membu is not even 21 yet. Bring him in, develop him, get some tackle help. All right, now, my Philadelphia Eagles. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Picking at 32 overall. Gray Sable is very interesting, guys. He can play guard. He can play center. If they drafted him and Mekhi Becton walks, Gray Sable could plug and play at guard right away. I know they have Tyler Steen, but man, they could definitely plug and play him. Faux show. Nick Emanuori, the safety, has been flying up draft boards. Nick Scourton's still on the board here. He's impressive too, man. He had a bum game against Texas, but other than that, pretty damn solid of a year, 6'4", 285. Josh Sweat's not going to be back. They need edge help desperately. Desperately. TJ Sanders from South Carolina, he's definitely a potential pick there as well. But I think they're going to go edge. Nick Scourton goes to the Birds at pick 32. All right, NFL fans, we are through our mock draft after the Combine. Some highlights. Ashton Genty falls all the way to number 20 to the Broncos. Cam Ward goes to the Giants at 3. Tet McMillan, 8, goes to the Panthers. James Pierce Jr. goes to the Cowboys at 12. Pittsburgh Steelers get Emeka Egbuka. Loveland gets reunited with his college coach Harbaugh at 22. Donovan Ezeraku, the edge defender, goes to Washington. And my Eagles take Nick Scourton from Texas A&M. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Peace!